Hi everyone, my name is Arnav Bhargava, and I'm going to share a persuasive speech about why I believe that NBA salaries are too low for some players and that they should be increased. So, the NBA, as we know, is one of the most popular organizations, not just in the sports world, but just in the world in general. And they racked up $10.58 billion in revenue within the last season. So they are very profitable. And with the NBA accumulating this much money, I personally don't believe that they are paying their players, at least the minimum salary players, to the degree that they should be paid. And today I will discuss the salaries that are given to NBA players and how much of that goes to them. And for example, the salaries for the minimum players, why I believe that they are too low for the expectations that they need to meet to be in the league. So, the NBA, as I mentioned, is a very profitable and rich organization. And with how profitable the NBA is, they do pay their star players and mid level players even pretty handsomely. So, there are 27 players that were that accumulated over $40 million in revenue per season in the last year, and the number one player who accumulated the most money was Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is one of the most popular players in the world. He plays for the Warriors. He accumulated $55.7 million just in last season. So that's a lot of money, and a good majority of that does go back to him. But a lot of these other players don't have that same liberty that Steph Curry has. And they also have to battle the same problems that even a guy like Steph Curry has to battle, and that has to do with fees, salary cap, and just a bunch of other things that they have to work around. So the other thing, like I mentioned, is the salary cap. So this is a little bit different than like the fees and everything that players are going to have to worry about. This is more on the team. So a salary cap is something, it's a figure of money of how much that each NBA team can give out to their players, to their coaches, their staff, that sort of thing. And there's a fixed amount every season. It goes up depending on how much revenue is made by the NBA. And these star players, they make a good fraction of that salary cap. So like a guy like Steph Curry who made 55.7 million in 2024 would take up about 38% of the Warriors salary cap. Now that's again star players, so like LeBron James, same thing, would be like 35, 38% of the Lakers salary cap. But a lot of the minimum salary players, they don't really touch even a percentage of that salary cap. So that's good for the team, but there also becomes an issue with, are those players, those minimum salary players, actually getting the right amount of money that they should? And another guy who also had an issue with these fees is a guy named Kyle Lowry. He used to play for the Toronto Raptors. And Toronto, they are the only city to have an NBA team in Canada. So they have to deal with federal taxes, they have to deal with their state taxes, and then they have to deal with international taxes. So all like the Toronto Raptors players have to pay a little bit more money as opposed to a guy who's in the United States. They still get paid pretty well with the amount of money that they accumulate, but it's it can be a little close, cutting corners for some of those minimum guys. And another thing is, a lot of people love to say that NBA players, as amongst to other athletes, have life changing money. And to a degree, that is true. But not all players reap those same benefits. The minimum salary for an NBA player is going to be in this 2024-2025 NBA season is going to be $1.16 million. And that may sound like a lot of money to us, but in reality, after federal taxes, state taxes, agent taxes, donating to charity, giving back to the union, that comes out to around $800,000. Now that's still a good amount of money, but it's still, they have so many other things that they need to take into account. It ends up not being a fantastic salary as opposed to like other NBA players. So I believe that, these minimum salary players are not getting paid handsomely or even to a point where they should. I believe that they should fight against the union to increase that salary at least to a little bit, because they deserve it for how much hard work they've put in to make the NBA, and because the NBA is such a fantastic product with a fantastic fan base. I think that they can do this if they push the issue far enough and they end up getting it to the union. So that's what I believe, that the minimum salary players should have an increase in their pay.